Good afternoon, and this is video number 3, and I want to just touch on behaviors. Identify behaviors within children, or understanding children behavior, in a sense of a dynamics within children home. How do you know when your child is possibly misbehaving? And what is important in terms of you, in a sense, managing the behavior of your child? First of all, for people, I think sometimes from BME communities, Black and ethnic minorities, one of the parenting style that possibly was adopted or were more prominent in the Caribbean was the Atatorian parent style, and that is a parent style that is based upon, in a sense of, when I say, you do something, you do it. So in a sense, is mommy said to wash up now, it doesn't mean 5 minutes later, and so forth and so on. And that parenting style, I will argue, was it didn't have it didn't have that sense of a lot of negotiation, or in a sense, whereas today a lot of the voice of the child was not, in a sense, as prominent as how it should be. However, I'm not saying, in a sense, that it is right or it is wrong. I believe also my argument will be during that time there was not a lot of research based upon the impact of parenting and so forth and so on. But also for me in St. Vincent, the Grenadines, or in the Caribbean, I think that my personal opinion is that those behaviors, those style of parenting was definitely needed in the Caribbean. It must sometimes use as a means of, in a sense, really containing, home. And the one of the point with this is that the majority of the population itself would have adopted a similar sort of parenting style, rather than a more authoritative parent style, where there's a sort of a balance between the voice of the child and the voice of and the parents, and I guess sometimes the difficulty, sometimes the sense of when there's a lot of changes. For instance, if there's a lot of changes within countries like the Caribbean to one extreme, what you will find is that possibly the value system, or in the which children, in a sense, react to their parents will be different. But also you have the positive with that, in that parents now get more taking them time to understand their children, taking the time to, in a sense, listen to the voice of their children, and taking understanding, in a sense, that the holistic well-being of a child there, especially in a sense their emotional development, and how, in a sense, nurturing plays a vital role in terms of their development. And so both extreme, if you get an extreme where especially in this time in the 21st century, if you get an extreme in which you use one style of parenting where you do not listen to the child, you do not take into consideration the various impact that certain things have on the child. For instance, their experiences, the nurturing, that sense of really listening to them as listening to them as your child. And you don't do that, and you go to another extreme, in a sense, where everything that the child says, in a sense, you believe. Sometimes this doesn't really always give a sense of a good balance approach in terms of parenting. So how do you recognize? 3 things is important in terms of managing child behavior. I think structure, consistency, and routine is vital. I believe that we get these structures and consistency and routine. I think part of it comes from, in a sense, of our own childhood experience, our own, in a sense of we've been able to, as I said in the previous video, being able to to project what we have learned and what we've experienced in our early childhood to our parents. In a sense, we've been able, the early attachment that we would have formed in our early life is significant, and will will in a sense help us to, in a sense, how we also to cope with our children, how we, in a sense, address issues that our children present on a daily basis. So attachment is always significant in terms of how we manage child. For example, the responses, the early responses, I believe, that you give to your child. Your child is hungry, you feed the child, you provide a sense of safety. Your child need a hug, you give the child a hug. I believe these responses are important for the development or the aspect of the development of a child. And then I think also, as I said, you teach children, also in a sense of resilience, through that approach, that responses that you give to the child. You teach them to in a sense that mom and dad will be there for you, that every time when you cry, mom will respond to your need in a very positive manner. But also time that mom and dad will allow you to cry at times. Mom and dad, when they are sure within themselves that, to the best of their knowledge, and never 100% sure, but to the best of the knowledge, I can tell you are safe based upon my responses. I've checked everything, and if I'm not sure, I will escalate it to a point where I possibly go and seek medical help. And but I'm as sure as I can be as a parent. You're never 100% sure, but you're sure as I can be as a parent that you are okay. And when they are okay, in a sense, you're also teaching them, as I said, to that it's okay to cry. I will go to so the parents will continue to do whatever they're doing and come back and check, and then reassure the child, don't worry, everything is going to be all right. So you may be cooking, or you may be doing something, some form of work. You go back to the child and you reinforce to the child that I am here. I am here. And that sense give the child a sense of security and help the child to emotionally regulate. They emotionally to understand that mom and dad, that they are not going to just leave me. And if one of the example that I've given yesterday was as Mary and what was talking about strange situation, where if you take a child to the nursery, also the child may display some sense of anxiety by demonstrating, oh my days, this may be an unsafe environment. I don't know. But what they're saying is a sense of, is anxious, is not my secure base, is not a base in which I'm accustomed to. And over a period of time, then the child, in a sense, will start to develop and feel more safe as they start to form, the bond with, with the children at the nursery, and with the professionals who are protecting the children. So I was talking about structure, consistency, and routine. So the children need structure in their life. They need to know, what they're supposed to do. Things need to be clear to them. What are you supposed to do? You wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, then you have your breakfast, you get ready for school, and so forth. All these things are very important things. And in a sense, as these things are repeated on a daily basis, then the child understand that there is a structure and there's consistency in the home. Well, these things, life is not always, that straight. So sometimes it can be, things don't have to happen everything at 9 o'clock. For some children, it have to based upon the child diagnosis. So some children may require that sort of strict regime. But for some children, it may be a sense of different. But don't deviate from those routine in a very broad way, where the child, in a sense, may be confused as to what is going on in the home. As I said to you, clarity is essential for a child, within those within the home environment. And you in terms of addressing a child behavior as a parent, you firstly, I want to say that you are the expert, not the social worker, not the psychologist. While they have some expertise surrounding this area, the power, I believe, of parenting is to recognize that everybody have a role to contribute in the life of their children. The health visitor contribute something, the doctor contributes something, but everybody contributes something. But in terms of the one that is given, that right to mold and to shape the child's future is definitely is the parents. And for the parents, your aim in a sense is not to get everything right. I can tell this behavior is not good based upon my experience with the child. So I'm not overthinking. I'm not overthinking in the sense I'm not going to call a psychologist. I'm not going to call, Johnny down the road. I think, first of all, the relationship that you have with the child tells you when their behavior is not right. When there is a behavior that the child is displaying that you find that something is going on. So when you see these behavior, and whatever it is, even those behavior are very small, tiny little behavior that you're saying, oh my days, he just did that. No. I think it's very important that you observe those behavior, and also that's, you in a sense support the child with these behavior. You don't have to be harsh. You don't have to, in a sense, in any way do anything to provoke a sense of anxiety or fear towards the child. But it's very important that you, in a sense, speak to the child about that behavior. And again, watch that behavior and see whether or not, if that behavior is a consistent behavior. When I talk to my child, does my child always display that behavior, that particular behavior of walking off, of chucking thing on the floor, of doing something that show that I don't agree with you, Dad. I agree with you as the parents, but watch their attitude towards the behavior. And if you as the parents believe, and remember, as I said, this is based upon a sense of a parent who want the best for their kids, a parent who provide a sense of nurturing, for their kids, or a parents who provide a safe home for their kids. So in a sense, a parent to try their best to ensure that that your home is a secure, and you form as much as a secure attachment, with your children. You will be able to identify those behavior from a very, very early age. Spend time with them, have fun with them. And one of the most amazing thing about parents is to when I come home and to see my two little children, rush at the door and say, "Daddy, daddy, daddy, daddy," and that is a very amazing feeling. And it really provoke a lot of emotions, in me, and to take the time and to spend, that time with them, really get to know them. Because remember, as I said before, your child is also mentalizing your thoughts, possibly how you are feeling, your emotion, and all these sort of stuff. They're getting these things, from you, and so forth. So ensure that you have a good understanding of your child. Ensure that you provide a sense of safety, boundaries, consistency, and routine. And boundaries is vital for your children. But as I said from before, all of the theories that is out there in terms of children, nothing is more powerful than any parents, caregiver, corporate parent who just want the best for their child, who invest in their best for their children, who listen to people who, in a sense, listen to the voice of the child, but also who also monitor that voice of the child. If that voice becoming so powerful that voice one day is going to become destructive. And when I say that, is a sense of, is that child, the way that the child is projecting to you, the way that the child is talking to you, the way the child is behaving towards you, they are not living according to the developmental stage in which that they are. They're living they are 6 years old, but they're displaying behavior as if they're in their 20s or in their early teens and so forth and so on. These things are vital in terms of addressing these things. So structure, consistency, and routine is important, given the fact that before, in terms of 0 to 8, some psychologists argue, you providing that secure base for your children. You're responding to the needs of your children. And most importantly, you want the best for your children. Thank you very much.